And I'm now joined by the lady who's just entertained us for the last hour. And what a wonderful, wonderful show. I was absolutely spellbound the entire set. How was it for you?
I loved it. I mean, I was just talking to the musicians there. It was a really special night. It was just felt quite cozy and magical. I don't know, I just really loved it.
It was tingling. What challenges did it present tonight doing this kind of a show, and how did you make it special?
Well, you know, we don't usually play with string players, so that was the first one. And then, you know, trying to remember who's watching at home and still interacting with this crowd. But I think it all just kind of fell into place naturally. I
was standing with some of your people, and you were doing Suitcase, and you were doing that with strings, which I don't think you'd done before. Yes. And they were kind of holding their breath for the entire thing. So it's quite daunting doing that kind of thing for you?
Yeah, because there's so many people and you have to be, you know, everyone has to be linked somehow. But I mean, I loved it. I love the sound of strings, and Rosie and her players are fabulous.
And you take a lot of time to explain your songs to the audience, and that's not something that everybody does.
Yeah, I mean, I still definitely, you know, even after such a crazy year, I'm still introducing myself. You know, this is still my debut album, so I always want to make sure that, because the lyrics are so important to me, that I can express that in the shows as well.
And it's been a crazy year.
Yeah.
What's it like being in the eye of the storm for you? It's all about you, and that must be mind-boggling.
I try and stay, you know, quite grounded, and I'm just focusing on the next bit of music, so I think that keeps me quite focused. And
but to have everybody clamouring for you and wanting a little piece of you, whether it's a chat or, I mean, it's difficult for people to fathom what it's like, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that you have to get used to, and slowly, by kind of trial and error. But I don't know. I mean, it's great to have this exposure, and after so long trying to get your name out there, it's so nice to get this acknowledgement.
Yeah, and so you had the 2 Brit Awards. What was, I mean, that whole night was a wonderful celebration and recognition of all you've been striving to achieve.
Yes, yeah. Brits was, I mean, I was so nervous because I was performing at the very end, and I didn't know if I'd won anything, and couldn't drink anything, and my whole family was there, so it was quite nerve-wracking, but by the end of the night I was definitely ready to party.
And the Brit Award, was that one of the ultimate accolades for you, something that an artist will always strive to get?
Yeah, for me, because I'd grown up watching the Brits, and you know, my heroes had been up there, so for me, and especially last year and the year before, I wanted the Brits Critics' Choice, and this year I was like, oh man, imagine I could get Best Album or Best Female.
Yeah. Why not throw that in as well? Yeah, we'll go for that. And okay, so describe for me the moment that you go to the parties, you've had the celebrations, and then you get to your house and you close the front door, and it's just you and your husband, I guess, in the house.
It's quite a bizarre feeling because it's suddenly very quiet, but you know, you still. It's magical. I woke up in the next morning, and my family and my husband, we all went out, and I don't know, it's such a bizarre feeling because you go from the loudest place ever to somewhere so quiet. But
did you just kind of go scream and kind of, you know, just go yes, just between the two of you?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're around people that you love that have been there from the very beginning, that's when it really sinks in, because you wake up next to them and like, wow, it happened. You know, this actually makes it very real.
And then, of course, you've got Elton John's due to get to and perform at as well, which is, you know, just a few days later. So you're off to do the post-Oscar party that Elton John has asked you to perform at. Yeah. And I guess you find yourself at a table with all manner of incredibly famous people.
Yes, it was a surreal night. You know, I mean, being invited by Elton and then having advice from him and sitting next to who are you sitting next to?
I
was sitting between Elton John and Bono,
okay,
and just kind of saying, so what did you do over here? It was just such a mad night.
Okay, so advice from those two gentlemen, what were they saying?
They were saying...
Elton, what was Elton saying?
Elton, well, we were speaking about, you know, touring and how important live music is, and he was just so supportive, and to have that support from a legend, and also just keeping almost like the innocence you have in your debut record, and keeping that love of music alive.
And Bono? What advice?
Oh, man.
Because he's not short of a few words, is he?
I mean, he was just saying that they played the album, and that kind of blew me away. And again, just touring, and if you want to try and get your music across the world, you have to really put in the hard slog.
And that's something that you've done and will continue to do. How does this year shape up for you?
Yeah, this year, I mean, I really want to write. I mean, the European tour is coming up, and then I hope I can get some writing in, and taking the music over to, you know, Australia and the States, and as far and as wide as I can, I guess.
So if you had to write, I guess, a mission statement for this year, is it cracking America? Is that kind of the way it works?
That's part of it, but I think that's part of it.
I mean, that seems to be the natural progression, doesn't it? You do really well here, and then it's like, okay, goal. This is what we have to do now.
It's a big goal this year.
And it's a big place to do.
Oh my God, it's huge, yeah. That's definitely in there, but for me it's kind of progressing as an artist, and I think as soon as you do that, then new doors can open for you as well. So, yeah.
So are there any songs written? Where are you at with the songwriting process?
Yeah, there's lots of songs and little memos and voice things done on tour buses, and I think I need to just spend a week of putting them all together and seeing which ones are rubbish, which ones are good.
And I guess it changes the subject matter of what you're writing about now, because, you know, before you might have been writing about personal struggles, and now, you know, people say it's the difficult next album.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to stay true to myself as an artist and things that move me. And, you know, as much as I love partying and things like that, you know, they don't move me, and they're not things that will last with me forever. So I'm trying to...
What kind of things do move you now? Or have been?
Just things that moved me in the beginning, just, you know, people I love and that real love. You know, you can see from most of the songs there, that's what I'm trying to capture. And I think...
A lot of family.
Yes, yeah. I think that will always be a big inspiration.
And what about collaborations? Because you've written as well for very many different people, whether it's Alicia Keys. Are there other people that you're going to be collaborating with?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, but for now, I really think that I need to focus on my own stuff. But if somebody that I've always wanted to work with comes along, then I'll be there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Like who? Who do you really want to work with? Who have you had conversations with? You can tell me now.
I'd love to work with Beyonce. I'd love to write something for her. Okay. I think writing for a voice like that can only be rewarding.
I should think so. And might that happen?
I don't know. Well, hopefully. I'm trying to make it happen.
Okay, we'll try to make it happen. I think that would be a good thing, Emeli and Beyonce. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. Absolutely fantastic. You deserve every accolade that you've had so far.
Thank you so much.
We'll end the show tonight with someone who I know has been a huge inspiration. When I first spoke to you, we talked about her, and we'll end the show with Nina Simone, if that's okay by you.
Oh, that's definitely okay by me.
Okay, this is Nina Simone, and I wish I knew how it feels to be free.
Very good.